A cold wind sweeps the airfield at Topcliffe, Yorkshire, as an aircraft brings 11 young Britons home after an adventure in the Arctic that has made newspaper headlines throughout the world. And here they are, back in old England after a long absence. Brian Fussey greets his mother, and here's Major Barker-Simpson, one of the 3 who were injured when their transport plane crashed on a Greenland ice cap. Greeting his wife and son is Frank Burke, another of the men whose courage in the frozen north is partly revealed by these scenes taken by an Air Ministry cameraman who flew in with the rescuing aircraft. For 10 days, planes flew from Thule airfield to drop supplies to the 12 men whose Hastings transport plane had crash-landed, trying to provision members of the British North Greenland expedition. There on a frozen plateau with a temperature at 30 degrees below zero, these 12 men huddled in their smashed aircraft, living on the food that was dropped to them and warming themselves against the cold gales by draping parachutes inside the fuselage. Day after day, aircraft from the American base at Thule, an airfield 900 miles from the North Pole, flew over. Medical supplies, stoves and tents were dropped, and gradually a little settlement was built. The days grew longer and more monotonous. The 3 of the party needed medical attention, and all were impatient to leave this icy wilderness for home. Then, on the 9th day of their isolation, another aircraft flew over. It seemed different to the others they had seen, for it was an amphibian. And then it came into land to rescue the wounded. Jerry cans filled with fuel for the rescue aircraft's takeoff went spinning down from a height of 50 feet to be retrieved out of the snow. Meanwhile, another aircraft had already landed and had picked up the rest of the party. The snow was already gathering against the wrecked Hastings as the rescue planes turned towards Thule. And those on board breathed a prayer of thanks to the Americans whose flying skill had brought them off the icy wasteland. One of the 12, an American, stayed on at Thule to receive medical care. Back in Britain, Flight Lieutenant Clancy, their leader, talks of a fear they all had.
When a full appreciation of our position was made, we became fully reconciled to the fact that we might have had to spend the winter there, and we were quite prepared to do that.
Now Major Barker-Simpson speaks for the injured.
Luckily, we had a very excellent amateur doctor on board on my left, but Adair, who looked after us extremely well. What he didn't know, which I agree first of all probably wasn't very much, but he got advice from a doctor in an aircraft, and he strapped us up and looked after us extremely well while we were there.
Britain salutes their courage and cheerfulness in the face of such great danger.